Good evening. This is All India Radio and I am Valsa Williams with the news at 9. The headlines. India and US agree on strengthening cooperation in international fora to fight terrorism. Both countries signed security agreement enabling India to access advanced technologies from the US. Telangana Assembly dissolved 8 months ahead of completion of its tenure. Governor asked Chief Minister to continue as caretaker CM. Supreme Court strikes down Section 377 of IPC, says homosexuality is not a crime. President Ramnath Kovind reaches Czech Republic on last leg of his three-nation tour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stresses on spreading Hindi through day-to-day conversations. And Saurabh Chaudhary wins gold medal in 10-meter air pistol at International Shooting World Championship in South Korea. India and the US have agreed to deepen cooperation in international fora like the United Nations and the Financial Action Task Force to fight against terrorism. Making a joint press statement in the presence of US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Secretary of Defense James Mattis and Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, after the conclusion of the 2+2 dialogue in New Delhi today, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj said the two sides agreed to strengthen bilateral cooperation. She said counter-terrorism cooperation between the two sides has acquired a new qualitative edge and purpose. India welcomed the recent designations of Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists by the United States. Ms. Swaraj said they underscored the international community's scrutiny over the threat of terrorism emanating from Pakistan, which has affected India and the United States alike. Ms. Swaraj said India supports President Donald Trump's South Asia policy. She said Mr. Trump's call to Pakistan to stop its policy of supporting cross-border terrorism finds resonance with India. On the issue of H-1B visa, Ms. Swaraj sought Secretary Pompeo's support to nurture the people-to-people links. India conveyed its expectation for a non-discriminatory approach to the H-1B visa regime, given its high impact on innovation, competitiveness and people-to-people partnership.
मैंने सेक्रेटरी पोम्पियो से कहा है कि राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के बीच में जो मित्रता है उसका लेकर भारत के लोगों को लगता है कि अमेरिका उनके हितों के खिलाफ कोई काम नहीं करेगा। मैंने कहा है उनको कि भारत के लोगों के इस विश्वास को वो बनाए रखें।
In his statement, Mr. Pompeo said the U.S. will continue to cooperate with India in different areas. He said the dialogue was symbolic and regional and global issues were discussed, including the situation in Afghanistan.
We also discussed a number of pressing regional and global issues, including Afghanistan and North Korea, and how our two countries can work together more closely to address each of those. We also committed to deepen our already strong counterterrorism cooperation. On economic matters, President Trump recognizes the long-term strategic importance of India's economy playing a productive role in the world's most dynamic and fastest-growing region.
Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement COMCASA was signed between the two sides today.
The signing of COMCASA today will enable India to access advanced technologies from the US and enhance India's defense preparedness. Our joint exercises have acquired greater complexity and newer dimensions, both bilaterally and in wider formats. To enhance our synergies in this area, we have decided to carry out for the first time a tri-services joint exercise with the United States off the eastern coast of India in 2019.
Secretary of Defense James Mattis said COMCASA will further deepen military-to-military partnership between India and the U.S.
The landmark agreement deepens our military-to-military cooperation and our ability to share the most advanced defense technology, making us both stronger. In addition, we agreed to increase and expand our engagement with the new tri-service exercise.
In a joint statement issued after the dialogue, the ministers denounced any use of terrorist proxies in the region and called on Pakistan to ensure that the territory under its control is not used to launch terrorist attacks on other countries. They called on Pakistan to bring to justice expeditiously the perpetrators of the Mumbai, Pathankot, Uri and other cross-border terrorist attacks. The two countries announced their intent to increase information sharing efforts on known or suspected terrorists and to implement UN Security Council Resolution 2396 on returning foreign terrorist fighters. The U.S. reiterated its full support for India's immediate accession to the nuclear suppliers group. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Secretary of Defense James Mattis called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi this evening. They briefed the Prime Minister on the fruitful and productive 2+2 dialogue. Mr. Pompeo and Mr. Mattis conveyed greetings of President Donald Trump to the Prime Minister. Mr. Modi fondly recalled his interactions with Mr. Trump and told the secretaries to convey his greetings to him. Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao has announced holding of fresh elections in the state. This comes after the Legislative Assembly was dissolved today, 8 months before it completes its tenure. The Cabinet passed a resolution making a recommendation to the Governor in this regard. Governor E.S.L. Narasimhan has asked Mr. Chandrasekhar and the Council of Ministers to continue as caretaker government while accepting the Cabinet resolution. Addressing a press conference in Hyderabad, K. Chandrasekhar Rao said dissolution of the Assembly was necessitated to protect the interests of people and curb increasing political fragility. Mr. Rao announced party candidates for 105 out of the total 119 Assembly constituencies. Responding to several questions on alliances, he said TRS will not have any alliance with the BJP and will remain a secular party. More from our correspondent.
The hectic political and administrative developments that took place in Hyderabad today made the way clear for conducting elections without much delay. The cabinet meeting that passed a resolution this afternoon recommending to the governor about dissolution of the state assembly hardly took 20 minutes. Now the ball has been thrown to the court of the Central Election Commission on when the assembly elections are to be held, even as the state administration is set everything ready. Lakshmi, AIR News, Hyderabad.
In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today decriminalized consensual same-sex acts. The court heard petitions challenging the constitutional validity of Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, which criminalized consensual unnatural sex. A 5-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court, headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra, unanimously decriminalized part of the 158-year-old colonial law. The bench, which also comprised Justices R.F. Nariman, A.M. Khanvilkar, D.Y. Chandrachud and Indu Malhotra, struck down Section 377 as irrational, indefensible, manifestly arbitrary and violative of the right to equality. The Supreme Court said other aspects of Section 377 remain in force. These deal with unnatural sex with animals and children. The United Nations lauded the Supreme Court and said the judgment will boost efforts to eliminate the stigma and discrimination against LGBT persons. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. President Ramnath Kovind reached Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic, on the final leg of his three-nation visit this evening. In Prague, Mr. Kovind will hold a meeting with an Indian business delegation. He will also be given a reception by the Indian community tonight. More from our correspondent.
In Prague, Mr. Kovind will hold wide-ranging discussions with the President, Prime Minister and other dignitaries on issues of mutual importance. He will also be addressing students at the Charles University in Prague. Local people call this season here Indian summer, which is pleasantly warm. It is expected that President Kovind's 3-day visit will add further warmth and strength to the long-standing relations between the two countries. Rajesh Jha, AIR News, Prague, Czech Republic.
Earlier in the day, the President met Bulgarian Prime Minister Boyko Borisov. Mr. Kovind inaugurated a statue of Mahatma Gandhi in South Park at Sofia. He presented a copy of Mahatma Gandhi's book, Hind Swaraj, to the President of Bulgaria. Both the countries called for reform of the UN Security Council. Bulgaria expressed its support for India's bid for permanent membership of the Council. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stressed on the need to spread Hindi language through day-to-day conversations. He said complex technical terms should be avoided or used negligibly for official purposes. Chairing the 31st meeting of the Central Hindi Committee in New Delhi today, Mr. Modi emphasized the need to reduce the gap between the use of Hindi in government and in society. The Prime Minister said educational institutions can help lead this campaign. Mr. Modi said India is proud of the world's oldest Indian languages like Tamil. He said all the languages in the country can enrich Hindi. The Mudra Yojana is benefiting unemployed youth across the country. People doing micro-businesses are reaping benefits from the scheme. In Mizoram, businessmen are earning well after taking loans under the program. Here is a ground report from our correspondent.
In Aizawl, a shopkeeper, P.C. Thanzwala, who runs a small photocopy shop, talked about his experience of getting loan under Mudra Yojana. He said the loan has helped him a lot and he is willing to borrow again to upgrade his business.
Color printer, Xerox paper.
I got to know about the loan from bank employees and borrowed 50,000 rupees in Sisu under Mudra from SBI Khatla branch in Aizawl. The loan was needed to upgrade my small photocopy shop. The loan has helped me to buy supplies and a new machine which has been installed. After repaying the present loan, I would like to borrow again.
With the help of loan of rupees 50,000 under Mudra Yojana, Mrs. Vanlal Swangi has also been able to expand her business.
Christmas don in Lag Muknan.
I had heard about the Mudra loan when some were discussing in my garment retail shop. I tried for the loan last year before Christmas and got it easily. With extra cash being available, I, with the help of Mudra loan, could expand the stock of garments just in time for Christmas.
Bank officials said Mudra loan is providing income generation and employment creation in manufacturing, services, retail and agriculture allied activities. Irene with Subhashit Chanda, AIR News, Aizawl.
In Uttar Pradesh, torrential rains and floods have claimed 40 lives in the last 48 hours in the state. More than 5 lakh people are affected in various parts of the state. In Odisha, heavy rainfall has been recorded in Paradeep, Kendrapada and Jagatsinghpur during the last 24 hours. Many places in Cuttack and Bhubaneswar metro city were submerged. Baitarni river was flowing above the danger level at Aquapara this afternoon. The benchmark domestic stocks gained today after 6 days of losses. However, the rupee depreciated to a new low against the dollar. A report.
Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange gained 0.60% or 225 points to 38,243. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange was also up 0.52% or 60 points to 11,537. Rupee depreciated 24 paise to 71 rupees and 99 paise against the US dollar. Gold rallied by 110 rupees to 31,510 rupees per 10 grams at Delhi's bullion market. Silver also went up by 200 rupees to 37,800 rupees per kg. With Sanjeev Kumar, Paul Thottam for AIR News.
India's Saurabh Chaudhary continued his brilliant run of form as he clinched the 10 meters air pistol junior gold at the International Shooting Sport Federation ISSF Shooting World Championship in Changwon, South Korea today. The 16-year-old produced an impressive show in the final to clinch the gold with a new junior world record. Arjun Singh Chima claimed bronze in the same event with a score of 218, while Korea's Ho Jin Lim clinched a silver. India also picked up a silver medal in the junior men's trap team competition. In cricket, India will take on England in the 5th and final encounter of the 5-match test series at the Oval, London tomorrow. The match will begin at 3:30 p.m. England is leading the 5-match series 3-1. England have named an unchanged squad for the test. The Oval test will incidentally be former skipper and England's highest run scorer Alistair Cook's farewell game for his country. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India and US agree on strengthening cooperation in international fora to fight terrorism. Both countries signed security agreement enabling India to access advanced technologies from the US. Telangana Assembly dissolved 8 months ahead of completion of its tenure. Governor asked Chief Minister to continue as caretaker CM. Supreme Court strikes down Section 377 of IPC, says homosexuality is not a crime. President Ramnath Kovind reaches Czech Republic on last leg of his 3-nation tour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stresses on spreading Hindi through day-to-day conversations. And Saurabh Chaudhary wins gold medal in 10-meter air pistol at International Shooting World Championship in South Korea. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.nic.in. And that is all in the news at 9. Good night.